y'all. This guy is a Louisiana native and the longtime drummer for country music superstar Blake Shelton. He has played some of the biggest stages in the world and has helped shape the sound of modern country from behind the drum kit. But he's not just a world-class musician. He's a teacher, a motivator, and a proud representative of his Southern roots. Whether it's through his studio work, live shows, drum clinics, he continues to inspire musicians across the country. We're excited to talk music, life on the road, and what it means to represent Louisiana on a national stage. Let's welcome the one and only Tracy Broussard.
Yes. Go Cajuns.
We finally got the applause thing to work.
Man. Y'all are a high dollar operation, I tell you.
We've been trying to get that little applause Alex got to work done for a couple of weeks. So.
That's awesome.
There we go. There we go. How are you, man?
Man, I'm great. Thanks for the great introduction, man. I tell you, it's I'm just proud to be from such a rich part of Louisiana, and musically, so many people, man. There's the Louisiana Musicians Hall of Fame, and there's so many guys in there. You know, it's like legendary. And the thing about being from there, you know this, man. You go to any festival on any weekend, you're going to see amazing music. Versus when you go and travel somewhere, it's going to be hit or miss. You know, like you may have to get some imports in there, but man, and it's festival season now in South Louisiana.
Yep. So,
man, you're going to see Wayne Toops. You're going to see, just this past weekend, they had the Mosquito Festival in Cankton, you know, and it was crazy, you know.
If it flies or hops or crawls, or there's a festival for everything.
There's going to be a festival for something. Yeah, you're right about that, man.
I'm trying to think of the animals that they don't have a festival for.
And if they don't, they will soon. It's coming.
That's right.
I guarantee there's a possum festival, roadkill festival. That's something.
Well, I see you've got you. I'm an LSU boy, man, and
it's okay. It was cool. Y'all got trouble. Y'all got problems. It's all.
It's been an interesting week, to say the least, for us.
Man, I tell you, not to jump off on the sports thing, but boy, when Brian Kelly was hired, I was just like, I don't know. The only good thing is he's Catholic. That's it. It's like he didn't win at Notre Dame, but anyways,
turned out you were right, man.
We like our coach. We're gonna keep Dez.
Yeah. We might get into that a little bit later. Man, you're from Cankton, Louisiana.
Man, you talk about a hopping metropolis, son.
Look, I can't lie. I had to look it up, man.
Oh, dude, it's okay. You're not the first.
A couple of weeks ago, we had Dustin Saunier on the show.
Oh yeah, man.
Dustin is from Vatican.
Dude, that's a metropolis area. It's a metropolitan Cankton area.
So when I looked him up, I saw Vatican, but I wasn't paying attention to anything around it. Today, whenever I looked up Cankton, I saw that it's just north of Vatican. I was like, man, that's basically like Dallas and Fort Worth as far as being next to each other. Cankton.
Pretty much. And they say that, and this is true, Cankton is actually a holy city because you got to go through the Vatican to get there. So it's a very religious spot.
I asked Dustin how the Pope was in real life, but
man, I don't know. But he might be close to godliness.
Man, tell us a little bit, man. Just that part of the state. Tell us a little bit about what growing up in that part of the state, how that kind of shaped you as who you are.
Man, I was very blessed that my brothers both played in a band, and I blame them for what I'm doing because they were in a band called Force, and it's around 1977, so they were definitely inspired by Star Wars, you know, and they were like the South Louisiana version of Earth, Wind, and Fire, to the point that they had the outfits, they had the pyro. I mean, listen, this was not anything that was spec as far as pyro goes. They just went to a hardware store and did stuff. And my brother Tony was telling me stories about them just blowing stuff up in clubs. So I remember seeing them play. They were playing a wedding reception in Opelousas, and I was probably 7. And it just hit me. I'm like, they look so cool. And look at all those drums. I think I want to do that. And so they kind of inspired me to play music in the first place. And my brother Todd was the drummer. And so I just started watching him and figured, oh, I can do that. I can play drums. So I showed him one time. He said, dude, what about your feet? I said, what? You got to use your feet? He said, yeah. I said, oh, man. So it was back to the drawing board. But watching them perform kind of got me into music. And then, of course, there's no way you can't be into music with so much going on down there. Like Cankton would have two like festivals a year. One was for the fire department and one was for the church. And it's got to be Catholic because they're serving beer in the church parking lot for both. So there were all these just dudes that I would just look up to musically. Like Tony, my brother, played saxophone and he sang, and he played with Johnny Allen in the Memories. And Tony Ordway was in that band of River Road fame and all that stuff, And I was watching all these guys play, and I was just a kid. And just in Cankton by itself, there was Jay's Lounge, like legendary. Willie Nelson went through there, Marsha Ball, like anybody. And we always knew there was a big concert. I say concert, but a show, because cars we parked up and down the street. And I remember one time I was sixth grade, man. I'd only been playing drums maybe on like the drum kit, maybe a few months, because I got a drum set for Christmas my sixth grade year. And I got to sit in with Johnny Allen, and Tony Ordway was playing guitar, and my brother Tony was playing sax. And man, I thought I was at Carnegie Hall, man. It was pretty awesome, dude. And so the bug got me there, dude. And just being around so many musicians, and of course, my brothers playing in different bands, I got to know different guys they played with. And then I was in like middle school band, high school marching band, all that stuff. I briefly marched at USL. That's what my degree says, USL.
I remember that.
But I was marching cymbals, and I'm thinking, man, this is heavy. I could be playing some gigs and making some money. I think I'm going to try to get in a band. One of my first bands was I was playing with Joe Douglas. And so down there, Joe Douglas, legendary, just swamp pop guy, probably legend, just legendary, maybe not the most easy guy to work for. My brother told me that. He said, but dude, you'll make good money and you'll learn a lot. And boy, I did. I learned a lot. And then from that, I had Shallon Thibodeau. He went to the same high school that my brothers did. Now he was younger, and he happened to call me up about joining his band, City Limits. And man, that was like, I was so excited, but I didn't realize where that was going to take me. And looking back now, that was a springboard, man. Like we would play at Cowboys or Yellow Rose or open up for different national acts at the Bear Creek Steakhouse in Montpelier, Louisiana, or anywhere. And luckily, I learned that you have to learn songs like the record. There's no improv. Learn it like the record. That's what they taught me. Scott Ordway, the guitar player from Eunice, and Shallon, and a few different bass players, man. We had Robbie Bullard. We had Tracy Broussard, different cats like that. Orrin Guidry, a legend, man. His dad's Doc Guidry. You want to talk about a bass player that was hard on a brother, but it made me better. And so learning what you had to do to be in a band, man, those days were priceless for me. And we played around that circuit. I mean, we were really excited. We'd go play in like Pensacola, or we go to the Ice House in Macomb, Mississippi, maybe go up to Jackson. We play in Beaumont. One time we came back from Beaumont and I fell asleep at the wheel, and Shallon and I were both in my truck. That fool didn't have his seatbelt. Luckily I did. And luckily I went right between two trees. So I could have not been here, man. You want to talk about angel over you.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't have any problem sleeping. I made it home safely after that because I wasn't going to get sleepy on the way back. That was scary. So we played in Beaumont. We played at Texas Club in Baton Rouge. And man, just opening for these national artists, I was like, I think I want to do this. But you can have aspirations to move, but not everybody's going to want to do, because we all have dreams of, man, we're going to make it as a band. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, man, other people have stuff going on. They can't just drop everything. I was lucky enough that, I got my degree from USL in public relations, worked in the tourism industry. I was at the Lafayette Convention and Visitors Bureau. That was ridiculous. I had a real job for real. And I was living at home. So I think my salary there was $14,600. And I thought I was rich because I was playing in the band, living at home. That was awesome. And, but I found that I was missing a lot of days of work because, that scene from Office, what is it? I'm not really missing work.
Office Space.
Yeah. I'm not really, can't say I'm missing it. But I was, when we go to Macomb or somewhere like that, I take days off and I'm thinking, is this what I'm going to have to do? And it's like, I don't know. And I'll never forget, we, City Limits opened for Brian White at Bear Creek Steakhouse. And I met Dave McAfee, who basically legendary drummer for Toby Keith and is now playing with Aaron Lewis. But man, Dave was so cool. He gave me his number. He's like, man, because I asked the question, do you think I could make it? Like, what do I need to do? And he's like, man, you need to move because I definitely think you can do it. I said, all right. So there was motivation there. And the night after that, they played in Lafayette at the Louisiana, I think it was the Cajun Heartland State Fair. And Brian White was playing. So since I'd hung out with him the day before, they said, hey, come hang out with us. So I'm on the bus hanging out with him. And that was like, whoa, this is what it's like. Like I'm on a bus and maybe I should do this. But I was working at the tourist commission. And you have that energy like, I'm doing it. I'm moving. That's it. But then reality hits maybe. So I'm sitting in the parking lot at the Cajun Dome in my truck and I'm thinking, all right, do I want to do this? And I said, all right, if I wake up tomorrow and feel the same way, I'm moving. That's it. I'm going. And man, I was sitting in my truck, drove home, woke up the next day. I said, yeah, I'm going to move to Nashville. This is it. I mean, I might as well. So I quit the job. I didn't move exactly then. I tried to make it just on music. That was tough. I was like, oh man, because the scene, I mean, it's gotten thinned out since then, but at least you could work a little bit, but it was a little bit rough. So I was like, okay, now I can't support myself just playing music. This is telling me that I need to go. So I moved to Nashville in August of '96. And my first gig was at the Hard Rock as a host. That was my thing. And
you mean like a host that like set people in where they're gonna sit?
Yes. And of course I'm thinking I'm not gonna be here this long, so no need to promote me to anything else. I'm just gonna be a host. That's it. Well, 3 years later, I'm still there, but it was so funny because I thought I'm downtown. When I'm off of work, I'll go try to sit in with these bands. Well, not realizing I should have probably brought a change of clothes. I'm still in my Hard Rock. Dude, what band is going to let you sit in wearing your work clothes? And it never failed, dude. I get called up to sit in. And up until I got up there, I knew every song. I get up there, they call some random thing that I have no idea. It's brutal. I'm thinking, I don't think I'm going to work in this town. This is going to be rough, and you get some auditions here and there, and you feel good about them. But, there's no guarantee that you're going to get that first gig.
Yeah.
And I remember I had an audition with James Bonamy like 6 months in. And I'm of course thinking I'm going to get this and I'm going to be on the road. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Didn't get that gig. Didn't get the next one. Didn't get the next one. And it was just, you had to wait. And they you've probably heard it's a 5-year town, 10-year town. It doesn't matter. It's all about breaks, man. I finally got a chance to audition and with Shane Minor. And I don't understand, it's weird how the audition process works because it is brutal and it could be totally different now. Man, I've heard stories of dudes that just submit a video and they don't even play with a band. I'm thinking, y'all got it so easy because when I had to audition, you had like a 30-minute slot to play like 3 songs and convince everyone that you're not a psychopath and that you're going to be a good person to be on the road with. And there was plenty, boy, you'd hear at the end, oh man, you played great. But then somebody else got the gig because, they have a resume. And it was like that whole thing from Boogie Nights. But I need the demo to get the money. Like, no, you need to pay for the demo. No, but when I make the money, I can pay for the demo. It's like, you need the gig to get the gig.
Yeah.
And man, if I could sum up just everything in my career, it's all about relationships. It's spider webs, man. The band leader from my first gig that I started touring with moved on to the next gig. And then he recommended me for that gig. And then you do that gig, and then somebody that you played a random show with somewhere remembers you and said, hey, that guy was pretty cool. We're looking for a guy. And then you go there. And so when fast forwarding way ahead to Blake's gig, there wasn't an audition because I was playing with artists that we were all on the same bill, like these festival dates. So the best way to see what a guy is to actually see him play. So there were several gigs. I was either with Cindy Thompson or Jamie O'Neill. And one time I was subbing. I thought I was only subbing for like 3 months for Jamie O'Neill. It turned out to be a year. But my first gig with her was opening for Lone Star. And this is probably I think 2002. 2002, yeah. And it was Blake and then Jamie and then Lone Star. And then I played with Jamie till about 2003. And she was having a baby. So when that happens, man, you're not on salary, you're on show pay. So no gigs, no check. And my wife and I, we just bought a house. We got a almost 2-year-old little girl. I was like, okay, so I guess I got to go get a real job or something. So, man, I applied for unemployment.
Back to Hard Rock.
Oh, boy. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. But a buddy of mine that I had done a random gig on a flatbed trailer in Kentucky, he was subbing on monitors, but he was also working with Blake because Jamie was off because we worked together with Jamie. So Blake called him to help out for a little bit because Blake was just starting out. So my buddy Tim calls me. He's like, oh, hey, man, Blake fired his drummer. You interested? I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. I need a job. And that's how it started with Blake. There was the band leader called. Said, hey, man, you want to come play with us? Yeah. All right. Pick up the CDs. We leave Friday. And so that's how that happened. And minus a few firings here and there. But for me, definitely all my fault. But I'm still here. It's I think the count is almost 22 years minus 2 months, going on 23 years. So yeah.
Yeah. You got some fans over here. Some of your buddies.
Oh Lord.
We got Craig DeRoche that says,
man, that dude, he was the DJ at Cowboys.
He says, what's up, Trace? And pop that.
Not only that, but we also we went to Acadiana High School together. Funny story about Cowboys, and I'm so glad it's reopened, man. I mean, it looks great. I snuck in when I was there a couple weeks ago, and man, Chris is doing a great job. But I was a little nervous for him because it's Tuesday, and they were opening on Thursday. And I walked in, I'm like, oh, not to be the bearer of bad news, but y'all got a lot of work to do. But it was fine. But man, we were playing the Cowboys with City Limits, and I got kicked out one night because me and my buddies, we used to pretend that we were really, really drunk, and we'd line up tables and to see how many I could knock over. And man, I swear I knocked over like 20, 25 tables. It was like a bowling ball. And Mike Dake was the manager there. And he looked at me like he was a disappointed father. He's like, man, what are you doing? You can't do that. You're banned from the club. I'm like, but Mike, I'm playing here next week. He's like, well, man, just pick everything up, man. It's fine.
But don't come back until you play. That's right.
Dude, yeah. And then Jalen, okay, Jalen, he's a long time.
I watched him do a backflip after a show. Then we got Brian Lally.
Oh, Brian, that's my boy. Smoke 207, man.
Is Tony your brother? Is Tony Broussard? Is that your brother?
Yes, unfortunately.
He says bragger. He says full of I'll let you read that.
Oh yeah, well, it was his birthday a couple days ago, so happy birthday, you bastard.
Man, let me ask you this, dude. So, what makes a good drummer? I mean, like, because to to be great at your craft, what makes a great drummer?
Man, I think it depends on the genre, but once again, this goes back to my brother Tony, man. Keep it simple, stupid. And I know people have heard it, but if you're a drummer and if you can lay down a groove, make it feel good, and be consistent, those are some of my favorite drummers. And looking at a spectrum, and I know this is probably sacrilege, but man, for instance, Rush, you think in the pantheon of music, dude, every drummer loves Rush. I never had a drum set big enough to play any of that stuff. So I didn't gravitate that way. But watching my brothers in that funk band, dude, you're just laying it down, you know, and that applies. And I'll always say it's better for someone in a band to ask you to play more than to play less. And especially in country music, it's gotten a little squirrely over. There's a time period where things kind of got, I think we're course correcting right now, because I've always remembered, even as a kid, listening to like Kenny Rogers or Alabama or Merle Haggard. Country music tells stories. A drummer is not supposed to step on the story. I don't care how many chops you have, how many ghost notes you can play. All you're going to do is step on the story and piss off the rest of the band. So to me, what makes a great drummer is having the discipline to not play every lick you know. Sit back there, lay down the groove, and just get wide in it. And if they need something from you, they'll ask. But there's many times a drummer been laying something down and derails the groove by some stupid drum fill or some ego-driven drum fill. It is about keeping time and making it feel good. And don't get me started on the click track, because boy, you need that. Especially now more than ever, because everything's on a grid. If you cannot play with a click, don't even start. Like you were talking about me. I have some kids that I give lessons. We do everything with a click because it's not going away. And I was so lucky in the mid 90s. Tony Ordwin and Eddie Boudin and all them cats, and Mike Birch in River Road, Steve Grisafi, man, because they were doing stuff in Nashville. They had a deal with Columbia, and Trace was on that same label. I think it was Columbia. But they were tight with Trace because they had played with Trace in a band called Bayou back in the day. Kip Saunier was in the band Bayou and all that. So here's River Road, who I'm watching on the weekends. And listen, every time they played, I was there. I was taking notes. If I wasn't playing a gig, I was there watching those guys. And Eddie, man, he grew up, man, in the Crowley area playing at the studio down in with Mark Miller and all them cats. Can't remember the name of the studio there, but Master Sound or something. Anyways, and man, I'd never been in a studio before, and I would hang out with Eddie, and I'd watch him record, and everything was with a click. And when I'd play, Eddie got me to play double drums with River Road, which was awesome. That taught me. I haven't done double drums a lot, but when I was doing it with him, staying out of the way of the other guy, and we played with a click. And then I started thinking, well, if this is what you have to do, we're going to play with one with city limits. And man, I tell you, it's one thing for you to play with a click, but if other people don't, they're going to get pissed because they think their time is perfect. Well, guess what? You're with a click. The only one right is the one playing to the click. So everyone has to come to you, and you got to embrace it, man. I mean, music is so produced now, and a lot of people are running tracks, and guess what? It's all on a grid. And even if you're not running tracks, being able to play with that helps. For instance, I do a lot of gigs downtown in Nashville, and I still use a click because I want to be locked in. That's paid practice for me. But what I like to do is I might know what the tempo is for the record, what the original tempo was, but you can feel if the band's pulling you or pushing, and I'll adjust the metronome to that. And it's really fun for me to do that because then okay, we're locked in. Now, some people might say, bruh, you've been playing this long and you're still playing with a metronome? Yeah. I mean, sorry, but that's what I'm going to do, and it makes me
Yeah.
better. And I'll tell you, playing other gigs with a click has made the Blake gig so much smoother for me. And yeah, but I've done it 23 years, and usually the set list is what it is. It's the same 20 some odd songs. But if you get comfortable and complacent in those, you're not pushing yourself to do other stuff, and you're not getting better. And man, I realized when I was playing other gigs, like I played a couple gigs, man, I was terrified. There's a place called Music City Bar and Grill. Bro, they ain't playing nothing past 92. They ain't no playing no Morgan Wallen. Good luck. No, they ain't playing that. If anything, it's 92 and older, which means a lot of shuffles, a lot of Dwight Yoakam, a lot of Merle Haggard, a lot of Waylon. I hadn't done a deep dive on any of that stuff till I had to play there. Man, first time I played, I think I played more shuffles that one night, and that shift was almost 4 hours. I think I played more shuffles that night than I had in the last like 20 years. And you want to talk about sweating, because man, a shuffle is real easy to sound like a pair of tennis shoes in a dryer. If you hadn't done it, it's bad, And I realized, oh my goodness, I've been mid-tempoing my ass off the last 15 years. I hadn't been challenged to play shuffles at 180 BPM. It's like, come on, man. So, man, it was good. But it made those gigs, got me back to when I was playing with Blake. Everything was like butter. It was awesome. So it's really been great for me to play other gigs outside of the regular gig.
Did you have a moment? I guess maybe whenever you first started out, or you'd been playing for a while, did you kind of have an aha moment, like maybe I'm pretty good at this, maybe I can do this?
Man, I tell you, I think one of those first moments was when I go back to talk about Dave McAfee, because that was the first time I was toying with the idea of moving and going into a big market or whatever. You're exiting the small pond to go into a much bigger pond with not only bigger fish, but sharks. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And getting the confidence that I got from David to tell me, Dave, saying, man, look, you can do this. I was like, all right, cool. And you make that move. But the minute you get comfortable is when you're going to get smacked. Just when you think, and my opposite of that moment.
It's kind of like women.
Boy, don't even go there. That was like when I auditioned for James Bonamy. I'm thinking, I've been playing with a click. I got a good recommendation. I'm getting this gig. You go in, you play the gig, and they tell you, oh man, you sounded great, but we went with another guy. And then that smacks you right back down. And that was like the first step, I think, was getting the confidence to make the move. And then I think another aha moment was when I actually got my first gig. That audition, I came in already. I was pissed pretty much, because as I'm going into the audition, I had been, preparing for this. It's 3 songs, and I know how it works. You're going to introduce, say hi to the band, play your 3 songs, and hope for the best. But before that audition, I had taken kind of a left turn, kind of hearkening back to whenever I was playing and watching my brothers play. I was in this funk dance band, and we played at this place called Courtyard Cafe. So we were playing like 80s pop, 90s, some 90s rock, funk, all of this. And tempo's way too fast. Like everything was super fast. But we were playing like 3 nights a week. So, man, I felt really confident. My chops were up. I was like, going into this audition, I had been playing country. It was a good thing to kind of stretch a little bit. So I'm pulling up to the audition. And for those, there's a drum set there. But you're bringing your own cymbals, your own snare drum, drum throne, bass drum pedal, your comfort items. And that's another thing. You got a half hour to get comfortable on this weird drum set, and hopefully it's comfortable. And you can't reinvent the wheel. You got to play it as it is. So there is no comfort. The only comfort factor you have is your drum throne and your snare stand. And then you go from there. And one of the songs had a cowbell on it. So I brought that. Well, man, I'm rolling in. The minute I roll my stuff in, I see this dude that's auditioning on drums, chatting up the guitar player. I'm thinking, that's it. I'm not getting this gig. He's already friends with the guitar player. I'm screwed. And I wasn't thinking about walking out, but I was pissed. So I basically played the audition pissed. I was like just angry. And turns out, I guess that played into my favor because when the audition was over, now this is rare. Usually, now this was back then. It's rare, very rare that they do this now, but the artist being at the audition, you don't really see that very often, but Shane Miner was very involved with the band and he wanted everyone to be a part of it. And I've never heard this before, but after the audition, all the auditions were over. Shane got the band together, all the current members, and said, okay, who do y'all want? And, they went through. Well, at that time, there was this bass player named T-Bone. Bruh. I thought Orrin Guidry was a hard ass. T-Bone, he's an MFer, bro. Rest his soul. He passed away a few years ago, but man, I didn't know what I was getting into. But this was one of those aha moments, man. And I didn't find this out till a couple of years later when I ran into the band leader that was for Shane Miner, but also with Cindy Thompson. So there's that spider web there for that. So Bruce Wallace and I are hanging out at a bar around Christmas time. I said, man, did I ever tell you about how you got the gig? I was like, well, I was on that end of it, but I don't know exactly what. He said, yeah, man. So we all got together and Shane wanted to know what each band member thought of who was auditioning. And so fiddle player, oh, I like Tracy guy. I like that Tracy guy, blah, blah. They get to T-Bone and the band leader says, so T-Bone, who you want? He said, man, I want to play with that Tracy MFer. I was like, that was the biggest. I didn't even know that because I got into the Shane gig and I thought, cool, I got the gig. So there's the high. Finally got the gig. Now the endorsements are going to happen. Man, I'm going to be on the road. About 2 weeks in, I thought, oh my God, I'm in over my head. I got my ass whipped for 2 weeks just because it's a different deal. You get the gig. That's the first part. You got to keep the gig. And I felt like I was outclassed by everyone on that stage. And T-Bone was the one that I felt it most from, because if I thought about slacking on any part of a song, it's like he knew. And he just, come on. He'd get me to get back in because I'm thinking, oh man, I don't have the energy, or man, I'm tired, or I don't know what's coming up. And there was no room for that. And I'll never forget, man, I didn't think I had a great gig one time. And we had a recording of the show and I'm in the bunk listening to it. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I don't think I'm cut out for this. I think I need to probably hang it up, move back, go back to hard rock. I don't know. But then I listened to the gig. I'm thinking, and this is it, man. Another thing that I've seen a lot. A gig is never as good or as bad as you think it is. So this gig in particular, I thought I just crapped the bed. But I listened back to it, was like, man, it wasn't too bad. Well, maybe I can hang with this. And then T-Bone saw that I wanted to get better and that I was responding to the things that he was, and he would always tell me, he was very encouraging. He said, man, you get just like one night, Orrin Guidry. So Orrin and I played 3 months with City Limits, and Orrin left to go play with somebody. But then Orrin joined I think it's CID with I think Jeff LaPerouse, who recently just passed away. He was in the band, and Danny Bork was playing drums. So he was in that band. Orrin was. And we did some co-headlining stuff, at Cowboys. So we'd play first, and then CID would play. I think it's CID, COD, whatever. So I remember one night, and this is before Chris did so much good work at Cowboys. The only place to hang out was in the parking lot. That's all you had. So me and Orrin, I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck, maybe drinking a Gatorade, but more than likely a Bud Light. And Orrin and I are talking. And man, he said, let me tell you what, little buddy, you got it. was like, got what? I mean, I kind of knew where he was going. That was a light bulb moment for me, basically saying, yeah, man, you're getting it. Still didn't know what I was getting, because when Oren would talk about groove and he would talk about playing on top of the beat or behind the beat, I thought on top meant you're a Russian and behind the beat meant you're a dragon. But then Oren tells me that I got it, but I didn't know I had it. It was one of those moments like, okay, cool, but still have no idea what's going on. But man, that moment with the Shane Minor gig and realizing, okay, I don't think I'm ready for this, then to, okay, I'm ready for this. And then that gig kind of fades away, and then you get recommended for the next gig and you feel pretty high about that. But every gig, man, there's going to be that moment that knocks you down a peg. Then you eventually, and this is after years of realizing, no ego, none whatsoever. No matter what gig you have, just keep the wins low and the losses in the middle. You know, don't get too high or too low, because at any moment that can change. And that's one of the biggest things I pulled from the last few years. It's even been, I mean, shoot, after 23 years almost of playing with Blake, I've had those highs and lows within the gig. You know, you have those moments where, man, I feel I'm playing really great. And then something will come up. It could be a TV performance, or it could be a recording thing, or a show that you did. And all of a sudden, I can almost predict it. I can, looking back now, well, you thought you were pretty high, weren't you? And you got knocked down. And that's the way God works, man. You know, he keeps things real, you know, and man, like I said, every gig has had that. And even within the gigs, especially with Blake, you know, man, there's been moments where you have these amazing highs, and then you have these crippling moments of self-doubt. And dude, we're all artistic. We're creatives. We're going to have that. And we're really good when we're good, but boy, when we're bad and we're in our own head, it's like playing with bricks on every limb. You know, there's nothing you can do right. But then there's moments of freedom where you just feel like everything's flowing. And I wish there'd be a rhyme or a reason or a pill to take to where you always feel the same way. But it's just about mental preparation. Talking about, a lot of times people ask me, what's the best gig you ever played? Or what's the best crowd you've ever played for? Man, I could play in front of, I don't know, 1,000 people and be way more nervous, or heck, 30 people. But everyone's locked in, versus 50,000 and it's just a big wash, you know? And what I've learned, I'll never forget, man, we were playing, I think it was the Staples Center, but now it's something else, because those arenas change names.
Yeah.
We were on tour with Toby Keith, and we're opening for him. And it was either Toby Keith or Rascal Flatts, one or the other. And one of the guys in the band was like, oh, man, we better really be locked in tonight because it's a big show. I'm thinking, what about the crappy Corn Dog Festival? You're not supposed to be locked in on that one? And that's when I started to realize all the gigs are the same. It's like the outside noise. That's just all of it. Focus on the drum set and your band, like the constants. And that old phrase, you ain't got to get ready if you are ready. And, you know, it's like, so, oh man, we only have, I guess, 10 people here. I'm going to half-ass the show. Well, if you half-ass that one, who's to say you won't half-ass the other one when you really, really counts? So that's what I think it comes with maturity too.
Play like you practice, kind of.
Exactly. You know, yeah. there is some value in mental reps.
You
know,
I'm laughing over here at the comments. I'm looking.
I bet.
Craig says CID, Carpenters in Disguise.
Oh my goodness, man.
And then your brother says, ask him about Groove Addiction.
That was the band, and that was the band. That was the funk band. Yeah. That was the funk band that we were playing. I was playing like 3 nights a week. And
when you said funk band, I don't know why I was imagining like you with an afro on or something.
Oh no. Well, some of the guys in the band they would wear afros for certain songs. But no, I was just back there playing way too big of a drum set and playing way too fast and way too many notes.
I feel like we got you've been on the road with Blake Shelton and all that, and we've got a cool Broussard on the show. But after you told me that story about your brother shooting off his own fireworks, we might have the wrong Broussard here. I mean,
Y'all need to do a force show. Him and my brother Todd, the stuff they used to do. Don't ask him about the orange van that he used to drive.
just
Hey, there was shag
an orange
carpet, but it was
van,
also
shoot fireworks.
shagging.
Oh man, that's God, I can only imagine the stories that you'll have, man.
Oh yeah.
My eyes are watering.
Boy, yeah. I know. I can hear Tony right now. That's how he laughs. It sounds like Jabba the Hutt.
I'm laughing at this Carpenter's in Disguise too. I don't know if Craig's playing or if that was real, but that's funny.
Man, Danny Bork's not gonna like hearing that, bro. Danny Bork's gonna come for you, Craig. Look out.
Man, let's talk a little bit about for the audience out there. A lot of our audience may not know the behind the scenes of Nashville, but tell our audience like how competitive it is and how tough it is to break through as a musician there, because there's a great drummer on every corner. There's a great musician of everybody on every corner. So, and there's only so many gigs, great gigs to go around. So how difficult is it to land one of those?
Man, you hit the nail on the head. Like, there are so many great musicians. And a lot of times when people come to visit Nashville, they're amazed. They'll see these bands playing or the singer, and they wonder, why doesn't he have a record deal? There's no rhyme or reason, just like, all these guys that are lucky enough to go onto these singing shows. Man, that's great. What a huge accomplishment. But now you got to get in. You're with everybody else too, and it's so competitive. And we break it down to musicians. Man, it boils down to, I'm not even the best drummer probably in my neighborhood. That's no lie. But a lot of it has to go back, in my opinion, to being someone that you like working with and vice versa. There could be, and I've seen them. Since I'm back, it's like, the phrase, I did a 180 or a 360. No, I legit did a 360 because I'm doing what I did at 96, playing downtown again. And I would be the same way. I would see these amazing players that would smoke me. And I'm thinking, there's no way I'm getting a gig ever. Because look at that guy. Jim Riley's one of them. Who's there with Rascal Flatts, been forever. Rich Redmond, another cat. At one time, Pat McDonald, who played with Charlie Daniels Band. Those dudes would like smoke. And I'm thinking, I'm feeling pretty good because I can play with a click track. And they're playing with a click and smoking. And so those guys were lucky that they melded talent and ability and attitude to have long gigs. Dude, Jim Riley's been on that gig since 99. Rich Redmond has been with Jason Aldean since then. Those guys have found a way to put all those things together. And I'm seeing this when you work with different people, being on the other side of it. Like, you may have an amazing player, bass, guitar, keys, but you notice there's a little bit something off, like a little bit of attitude, a little bit of ego, or they react differently to certain things, and certain things kind of rub them the wrong way. And then versus the situation, especially now, and going back to the Blake gig, being fired, it was all ego. I ain't gonna lie, dude. I came into that gig hot. I'm like, y'all wanted me. I'm here. And their camp was as green as grass. Like, it was just ridiculous.
How did you get that gig, if you want to talk about that?
Oh, so the Blake gig just came through because a couple of guys that I knew, we would play gigs with Blake, and they had seen me play when I was with different artists. And so it was basically kind of a recommendation thing. They're like, hey, and I remember Rob Bias, our bass player and band leader, long time. He's been with Blake since the jump. He one time was watching me either play with Cindy Thompson or Jamie O'Neill, somebody. And Rob told Blake, man, if we could ever get him, that'd be awesome. And Blake was like, yeah. And then in 2003, it happens. So that was sweet. I went from auditions being angry to not having to audition. And then once again, you get the gig, you're excited about it. And then you're trying to feel out the camp. And then I realized, oh, they don't know what they're doing. And here's the ego part. Oh, I've been on tour. I've opened for Shania Twain. I've opened for Toby Keith. I've been on the road opening for Alan Jackson. Who are these fools? They ain't done nothing. And it came to a head about a year later. I didn't pay attention to what our rules were. I disregarded all of the levels and chains of command. I just did my own thing. And it didn't help that we played basketball against Toby and we suck. Like they ain't no athlete in that squad, including me. But Toby, for whatever reason, liked the way I played. And I played angry, I ain't gonna lie. And when you foul the promoter and talk shit to him, that does not reflect very well on your camp. And that literally happened. So, but of course I thought, oh, they're just idiots. They fired me for no reason. It was unfair. After years of therapy, you realize, bro, that was all your fault. Like, you came at it wrong. Everything that I preach about being humble and not having ego, I was the exact opposite of all that. So getting back to amazing players and what makes a good player versus a not so great player, man, I think a lot of people they'll side on the part of, man, he's a good player and he's a good guy, versus, man, this dude's amazing. He's got some crappy habits. He's late all the time. No one wants to be around him. Because think about this. On the road, you're playing 90 minutes, maybe less. You're only 90 minutes doing what got you the job. The rest of that time, you're on a bus, you're in a dressing room, you're in the airport missing a flight or making a flight. So you could play the perfect gig. But if you were a jerk to the tour manager at the airport, guess what? When you make that mistake, they're going to remember the fact that you were a jerk at the airport. Then it starts piling up. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't feel, man, I played the gig great. Well, half the time it ain't about you playing. It's about the other stuff that you do, because you're always on the clock, no matter who you represent, when you are. And dude, social media, it's fun to tag artists and do all that stuff. Go do some dumb crap that looks poorly on your artist. You could be the next thing since Neil Peart, whoever. You're going to be gone, and that's just how it is. So I think a lot of times, man, what makes a great player, because dude, it's so funny playing with different people, like doing gigs on Broadway. Half the time I'm playing 3.5 hours with somebody I never met. I'm shaking hands. There's no set list. You have a ballpark of what's going to be done. It could be 90s. It could be older, maybe some new stuff, whatever. You don't get to rehearse with these bands. You're showing up, you're playing 3.5 hours. If I were to play and have this ego like, oh, man, I'm Blake Shelton's drummer. I'm too good for this. I'm better than this. And I blow an ending. And then I'm a jerk about it. Man, I could have gold bricks come out of my mouth. I did not impress that band. And they'd be like, that dude plays with Blake. He's kind of an ass, And so I see both sides of it. And there's tons of guys that are downtown, but I know why they're not on a bus, Yeah. Here's another thing that's weird. Music downtown has gotten so much better. Guys are turning road gigs down. They're making 6 figures downtown Nashville. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like when I would play, dude, I was lucky if I made $10. Half the time I owe money and have to pay the next time. But now, so that's one of those dynamics that's happening. But I love the fact that I'm getting to play with different players, and every gig that I play is a challenge to win those people over. And I'm not going to win them over by being an asshole. I'm going to win them over by, yes, I made a mistake. Try to fix it next time. Try not to repeat it, but be a good person. Try to be a light around everyone else, because there's a lot, man. Dudes are doing like triples down there, which means 3 back-to-back 4-hour gigs. Yeah. And let's say I'm wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. and they've already done a double, and they're like, oh man, this is gonna suck. Well, and let's say they never play with me. My goal is to make it fun and to make them want to play with me again. And honestly, that's what I missed, kind of. You know, it is so weird to say, but the most fun I've had in the last probably 10 or 15 years has been playing again downtown. Because with Blake, it's scripted. You know, it's a playlist. We're playing it. You still have to be cool. You still got to be a good hang. But you don't have room for error. That's another thing about being a good drummer in this genre or pop. It's not about what fill you want to play, or it has to be the same every night. And specific to Blake's gig, we don't rehearse with Blake. Blake's big time, dude. He's got his own airplane. He's got his own helicopter. He flies in 30 minutes before the gig. If I needed Blake to give me a high five and a hug and say, hey, man, we're going to kick ass and have the whole rah-rah thing, I'm shit out of luck because that ain't happening. I will see Blake when he walks on the stage, and I'll see him when he leaves. And if it's not about hanging, and a lot of times people wrap up a job with hanging with the artist. It is no different than you working for a CEO. Do you hang out with your boss? Probably not. I don't hang out with Blake. The only thing we got in common is that I've had that gig for 20 plus years. He's into hunting. I wouldn't know the first thing about it, but he trusts me to be consistent every night and play that song. And the other thing, man, we don't tour a lot. Gone are the days where we're gone 200 days a year. If we're lucky. I think last year we did maybe 30 shows. and they're not all back to back. So here is the issue. For instance, we played 2 weeks ago in Tuscaloosa. Our next gig is in 2 weeks. So if we go longer than a month, we have a rehearsal. But if it's still that 4-week thing, we, as musicians, as professionals, we should know the material well enough for him to come in and it be like an old pair of jeans. If I'm back there playing a different fill than I did a month ago, if that for a second throws him off, no matter how perfectly executed that fill may have been, no matter how many hours I spent on YouTube trying to figure out this drum fill, and I'm going to put it in Hillbilly Bone, and if it throws him for a second, that was a crap fill. That's an ego move. If you don't want to play the same thing every night, then don't do this. And don't bitch about, well, I want to play something different. Well, then go play something different. But you want to make money and you want to be consistent, you got to be consistent. You know, you got to play the same thing, play it down every night the same way. It's not jazz. It's not, playing it down on Beale Street or Bourbon Street. I mean, it's an artist gig for a reason. Those gigs are hard to get, and you got to keep them, and you keep them by staying out of the way. So you think, I mean, I saw this, man. I would watch these groups touring when I was still in city limits. And I feel so dumb to admit this, but I'd watch the drummers. I'm thinking, oh, they're not doing anything different. This is easy. I could do that. That was my first mistake, man. But specifically to country music, it is it's simple, but it's hard because the discipline has to come in. And thrown in with now everything having to be pretty much precise, man, you can't really be sloppy. There's no room for it.
Yeah, and there's it's kind of like what you're saying. I've always said, like, the lead guitar player, you got the lead, they'll just play the shit out of a lead. And it's like, dude, like, you're playing too much or whatever. So I didn't know, I guess drums sort of like the lead guitar, same type of thing. You could overplay and kind of ruin everything for everybody.
Oh yeah, man. There's nothing worse than a dude that has this blazing solo but can't play rhythm for crap. It's like, wow, that's really cool. It's like a dude that works out his upper body but doesn't do leg day. It's like, what do you do?
skip legs, bro. That's why I don't work out either. That's why
yeah, just keep it even. Oh yeah.
What are some of your favorite shows that y'all have played, man, over the years? Any stand out to you?
Man, I tell you, Madison Square Garden, holy moly. You want to talk about a show to be nervous for, but luckily I had entered that mindset before. Every show's the same, no matter what it is. The same thing that's constant is the stage and the songs. The crowd can be different. If you think too much about that, it being, oh my God, it's Madison Square Garden. I always tell myself it's muscle memory. Just because it's Madison Square Garden doesn't make those songs any different than when you played them somewhere else. So make that the constant. Madison Square Garden was awesome. Playing the Forum in LA was pretty incredible. Being a sports guy, man, I mean, dude, the Lake Show, that was amazing. I mean, walking back there and seeing pictures of Magic Johnson and Kareem, and I'm like, oh, this is incredible. Trying to think, man. Oh, dude, playing. Man, I'm there. It's sad to think like there's so many of them and they could be inconsequential venues, but it was a great show and the vibe was awesome. It could have been in North Dakota, man, but the crowd, the band was killing. The crowd was great. Energy was amazing because guess what? Rarely will you have the meld of everything working at a great venue. And I think when you put your pressure on yourself, man, we got to kill it at MSG. Well, if you killed it before and you're consistently killing it, it shouldn't matter. So I've had gigs that were just basically one-offs, but were a cool vibe. Wrigley Field was pretty awesome. Getting to play Wrigley was pretty sweet, man, because I had an issue with testicular cancer around 14, and that was my first gig back after surgery and all that stuff. So it meant a lot to me, and of all places, it's at Wrigley. So that was pretty incredible. I mean, playing Bayou Superfest at we did it at the Superdome, and then we did it at Tiger Stadium. That was pretty cool. But listen,
I think it was
here's what's
pouring down
funny.
rain when you played at Tiger Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. But so I can talk about the Forum. I can talk about Madison Square Garden, Wrigley Field. The show I did at the Cajun Dome about 2 years ago, that tops them all. You know, that was a bucket list moment. The last time, so I'd played the Cajun Dome. I'd played outside of it with Blake one time, then played inside, opening for Toby Keith. Then we were opening again for Rascal Flatts, but this is the first time we headlined it. Hey, man, I had to dig so down deep into everything that I prepared myself for to not get overhyped about this gig. Like, you're going to play the Super Bowl and you overthink it. It's the same game. That's the way I approached the Cajun Dome gig, dude. It's the same songs, same everyone in the band. Just lock in on that, try to block out the noise. But Blake did a really cool thing where he introduced me, and this is classic Blake. He won't tell you he's going to do anything. And don't expect anything. It just happens. We're getting ready to play Home. And he goes through this whole thing about me being the king of Cankton and I'm home and home venue. And I'm like, wait, hold on, man. I'm playing here. The first concert I ever went to at the Cajun Dome was Kenny Rogers and Sawyer Brown. And here I am. Oh, man. So that was one to me, that one of those bucket list moments, you know, getting to play my hometown arena. And I probably won't ever get to do it again because that's one of those moments, man. And everything was telling me, dude, don't overhype it. Just play the gig. And that was one of the gigs that I walked away from feeling good, not only about the vibe and the energy, but from a playing standpoint. Because a lot of times the family and the vibe or the gig itself overtakes the actual performance. Like I might second guess, well, I shouldn't have done that. And that's where the consistency thing comes in. Like if you're playing the same way every night, it shouldn't be different when you're 10 people or 100,000. So I really had to dig deep in that mindset. So I walked away from that gig. Not only was it awesome to have family, friends, Coach Des was there. That was amazing. But to walk away from that feeling like that was a good show. And it was like all wrapped up. And it was one of the most complete gigs I've ever done. So I don't think I'm ever going to top that. But playing SNL was cool. That was pretty awesome. Except I was terrified because I didn't want another Ashley Simpson moment. And at that time, I was running the tracks, and it is truly live. There is no redos. There's nothing. It's like if something happens, it happens. You ain't fixing it. So man, the whole time, everyone in the band is excited, and just bro, you couldn't have put a pin, where. I was just, and the thing about that was that I only relaxed when it was over. But leading up to it, like when I put my sticks in my stick bag and it was done and the crowd's going off, that's when I took a breath. I've never been more terrified, but also more excited than playing SNL.
Who were the SNL guys then? What year was that?
Oh, so Keenan was still there. Pete Davidson was there.
Okay.
I'm trying to think some of the other cats. Oh, Bobby Moynihan was there. Man, it's just crazy. And the whole time I'm thinking, at the end of the show, what do they talk about? Like when you watch SNL and it's over, and
they're
I'm
all
like,
talking.
and it was the weirdest moment. You just chop it up with whoever's next to you. I mean, and it was cool. But like Pete Davidson was like, man, I enjoyed the song, man. I like Blake and all this. I'm like, what? Really? And my son loves Pete Davidson, man. When I told him that, I was cool for like maybe 5 minutes. And I just went back to being dad after that. But man, that was a moment, man. It was just so cool. And then going to the after party, Leslie Phillips was like, is it Leslie? Leslie.
I'm terrible with that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. She was on, and it was really cool because she said Blake was one of the best hosts that they'd ever had. And he was not only the performer, but also he was a guest host. And so you're in with all those skits, and to see the process, they will do an actual show before the show. And so you write these skits the whole week, and you do a dress rehearsal. After that, they take about 2 or 3 hours, maybe not even that long, and they whittle down the ones that didn't work. And they get it down to 90 minutes. So you could have put all this effort as a writer into one of those bits, and it gets cut. So you're done. And there were some that Blake did that didn't make it to the show,
So Blake was writing some of these skits?
He was part of them. And I'm sure they wouldn't, he would suggest, he's a funny guy. I'm not gonna lie, man. And I'm sure they didn't turn down any ideas that he had. And once again, the cast and a few people have talked, and I've seen him on interviews and stuff, say that Blake was one of the best guests they ever had, because he was just, he doesn't really take himself too seriously, but he did say, that was a pretty exhausting experience because you're not only performing, but you're hosting, and you're in these skits and all this. So yeah, it was pretty insane. I have a whole new respect for that show, by the way. I like when people say, oh, SNL sucks. I'm like, man, if y'all only knew what went into it, you have a new, way more respect for it.
I can only imagine trying to be funny every week, man.
I think that's why drugs are so good for them, I think.
I guess. So, and I don't want to keep you on here all night, man. We got
I got nothing else to do. I'm off.
We got Dustin Saunier on here. He says,
Dustin.
He said, we know we just talked about Vatican earlier when we started the show, Dustin. Let's see, Christy and Lance. Blake seems like a person to sit around a campfire and sip some bourbon and make jokes. Kevin Burke. Kevin says, what does Louisiana country mean to you? Carl Boudreaux, what's up, Ronnie and Tracy? Good stuff.
Oh, man. Carl's
like, Carl,
man, I see Carl down here all the time playing.
Yeah.
We share an artist. We play. I was looking at her Facebook post. I'm like, damn, Carl's in town. He was playing with her on a Tuesday, and I think I was playing with her on a Thursday.
Yeah, Carl's a great dude, man. We had a little band, and he played drums for us. He's a great drummer, man.
Yes, he is, man. And I love that he comes up here, man, and he's doing it because, a lot of times you have to do this to know what it's about. Yeah, I can explain it, but you have to live it to see what I hate to say the grind, but it is, man. It's just different,
Oh, I mean, I'll text Carl and be like, yo, I'm coming downtown for a minute, or, I'm coming downtown on Tuesday. And he'll send me like 4 gigs. He's like, I'm from here to, and then I cross the street and I play for 2 hours and I go over here for 3. I'm like, damn, well,
Yeah. It's a
So
trip.
yeah,
And, that definitely gets you prepared for anything. I got a good buddy. I met him in Canada, and he was just hanging out at a gig we were doing. And, hey, man, I want to move to Nashville, whatever. And you hear that. And you're like, okay, cool. Another one that wants to move. But he actually did. And I found we ran into each other playing a gig. And I was like, holy crap, dude, you moved. That's awesome. And we got to be really tight. His name's Weston Blatz. And he just started playing with Emily Ann Roberts. And man, it's my brain on like artist gig stuff. Now I'm picking his brain on downtown stuff. Like, how do you end this song? Or when you play with this guy, how does he count it off versus this guy? So it's a really good back and forth that we have. And man, this is just such a great environment. And when you come down here to visit, I've seen it. People are blown away by the bands and the artists, and they don't understand how people are not signed and not have a deal.
yeah,
And you could say one thing, so well, they're not good enough. Oh, they're not. I think they're plenty good enough. It's just things work different. There's people that never played on Broadway that just get a record deal. There's people that move to town and get a gig. There's people that have been here 10 years and still don't have one. There's no rhyme or reason for it. It's like, yeah, at least if you go to college, take your courses, you get a degree, and you get a job. There's a path. Man, like telling my parents, luckily I finished, but having the aspirations to move, I still had the degree in my back pocket. And I always told me I got that to fall back on. But actually, it did come in handy because you have to promote yourself. Now, this was 1996. Now it's different. Social media, all this stuff. But I'm going to say this. You can put your videos out. That's great. Go play a gig. Go play 3.5 hours with people you don't know and survive that. You put your video out that's edited, pristine, no mistakes. Great. Tell me how you're going to play an artist gig, or how you're going to audition, or how you're going to play. There's credit in that. That is good to go through the process. But that's not the end all be all, because we see it. We see people that, obviously their drum set hadn't left their studio, and they put out stuff all the time. But I was like, okay, that's cool. That's very cool. But I want to see some live stuff. I got to see both if I'm going to make a judgment on what, so.
yeah. How are you gonna handle it when the guy you're talking about chewing on your ass for a little while?
Oh yeah, exactly. And you were asking about the country scene in Louisiana, specifically South Louisiana. Man, going to see Jeff Dugan, going to see Kip Saunier, seeing River Road, all these cats, man. And they're in our hometown. And I will say this, I definitely got spoiled, because you see these local dudes and they're killing it. Musicianship is off the charts. There's definitely something in the water. And man, I've heard this more than once. I'm playing a gig. It could be with Blake. It could have been with some random person or whatever. They hear my last name, like, man, are you from Louisiana? Oh, yeah. Oh, I can tell. Not by the way I talk, but the way I play. And that's a South Louisiana thing that can't be taught. It's in the roux. It's in everything we've ever eaten. It's in the boudin. It's in the water. I mean, it's just something. And people see that. I've got drummer buddies of mine, and we've been friends. They've had gigs. Some of them have had, like, one guy's been with Brad Paisley for 20 plus years. Another buddy of mine's playing with John Party. First time I met him, Kevin Murphy. I think that Kevin was playing with, oh boy, I tell you, it's another American, Josh Grayson, on American Idol guy. And once again, dude, Josh Grayson's playing before us. So we're headlining. We're on a flatbed trailer, bro, at a rodeo arena. And it's not even enclosed. It's just got bleachers. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's no big thing. And so I meet Kevin, and Kevin came from the rock world. He had played with a bunch of rock groups, Tonic and a bunch of other groups. And he's from that area that the Dave Matthews Band was from. So he knows Carter Beauford and all them cats. And we barely kind of know each other. We just started to meet each other. But he's like, Yeah, man. And he's a smug dude. Like, he don't give compliments. He's like, yeah, you got that Louisiana thing. I'll hand it to you. I was like, well, thank you. Thank you for letting me know that I've got approval. But it is something about it, man. It could be a singer, could be a guitar player, could be a bass player. Hell, even the sound guys, man. Chad Brown running sound, man. I mean, come on, man. They even know how to run sound like Cajuns. It's great. Like, um, a good buddy of mine that I play with, we go way, way, way back. Our kids went to high school together. His name's Sean Hammonds, and I play with him in Nashville. Does all the old stuff. That dude's a walking encyclopedia of songs. Well, he was playing drums with Ken Mellons, and apparently Ken Mellons did a gig. I think it was Ville Platte, and they're still talking about that gig. Like how the people were just, Ken Mellons was floored by the amount of people that were there. And it could have been at like a VFW or something. The amount of people that were there and the amount of people that were singing his songs and how well they were treated, what the food was like. And believe me, I've been to the Midwest. I've played some festivals where it's the Knights of Columbus or the Women's Confederation of the Republic that's cooking, and it's all potluck. You go to Louisiana, South Louisiana, you'll never forget the food, because I've had my share of barbecue, and I'll tell you this, everybody in Texas thinks they have the best barbecue. Guess what? It's all barbecue. Okay. And I've had enough chicken fried steaks to save my life. But, it's just everything, man. It's the food, it's the culture. And I think we're definitely spoiled because of the musicians that are there and that we get to hear every weekend. Like, I was down for festivals like Cardigan. I didn't go because I didn't want to be in the Dust Bowl. But man, come on, man. Look at all those people that are playing. And even at the Mosquito Festival, Richard LaBeouf was headlining, It's like you don't get that level of talent at any other spot in the world. And I think a lot of times people ask, well, why don't y'all come to Louisiana more? Well, guess what? Unlike other places in the United States, there's so much music and so many good musicians and artists. They're going to get local guys that are probably going to kick any mid-level or even headliner's ass. Who wants to do that? It's like those colleges that pay to go play somebody and then get their ass whipped, And I think, because my family would always ask, when are y'all going to play in Louisiana? And that's part of it. Like, if you can get a Wayne Toops that's going to kill versus an up-and-coming country artist, who are you going to go for? You can draw a crowd with Wayne. And I've had dudes experience it. Wayne would play before them, and Wayne just wiped the stage with them. Because they first of all, they're in shock because they don't know what this is going to be. Most of the time, a local band is not going to be good. It's some dude that, probably maybe works at the school and has a little band on the side or whatever. Not in Lafayette or not anywhere else. You're going to get some tight bands. And I think, honestly, there may be a little bit of a chip on those guys' shoulders that are opening for a national act. They want to kick their ass. And I don't blame them. Go for it. Keep kicking their ass.
I love it, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. What if a Louisiana kid comes up to you in Nashville right now and says, hey, man, I just moved to town. I want to do what you do. What advice would you give him?
Man, I would, first of all, I'd vet him and say, okay, what were you doing before? And if they were saying that they were playing with a band and his timing is good and is familiar with working with a metronome, but also a new drummer now, guess what? You're going to have to run tracks pretty much. Almost every act is running tracks of some sort. So you got to have knowledge of like running Ableton or some kind of DAW that runs tracks, because you're going to be the guy running them and editing them probably. And if anything goes wrong, it's on you. So you got to have that burden. So it's not like, hey, I want to play drums. Cool. Can you run tracks? No, I didn't before. Well, you better learn. And if you haven't embraced playing in time, you have to do that. And then further on beyond that, I'm like, okay, so what type of player are you? Are you a guy that's willing to support an artist, but not be about you? be a guy who is going to play a train beat for however long. And if you're playing Devil Went Down at Georgia, get ready to play it at 300 BPM because that's what it's going to be. And have the stamina to do that. But also, you got to have some chops. But I would say the chops need to come from just the way you groove. And there's this thing I came up with. It could be complete BS. I call it groove dynamics. And it's basically what it boils down to is you have whatever tempo, but the way you play the hi-hat will dictate how that feel is. If you're heavy on the eighth notes, it's going to push. But if you're heavy on like the quarters, it'll pull back a little bit. And then you don't have to do a fill every time you go somewhere. For instance, at the top of a song, I would think you're either going to be on the open hat a little bit, not sloshy. It's not Guns N' Roses, but just open it a little. And then when you get to that verse, the easiest thing is just close the hat. That creates a dynamic level. And you didn't play a fill. And guess what? The band will appreciate it because with all that noise, you're not adding to it. Doing simple fills, knowing the dynamics of the drum kit. I've heard plenty of bands play check yes or no. And I've heard them, they're playing the notes right, but they're not playing the feel right. The approach is different. The guitar tone could be too aggressive. The dude's like on the ride cymbal at the top. It's like, bro, what are you doing? It's barely open hi-hat. And so I would not discourage anyone to do it because you have to do it. But set yourself up for success because we both know people. Oh, I moved to Nashville. It wasn't my town. Well, did you save money before you left? No, man, I live out of my car. Well, guess what? You don't get a bronze medal for that. You're just stupid. You got to prepare. You got to set yourself up for success. Like what I did, I saved money, got a job and a place to live. And once I did that, you're okay. But I know plenty of dudes, oh man, Nashville wasn't for me. They didn't want me. How long were you here? 2 weeks. Wow, you really gave it a college try, didn't you? So not only do you have to set yourself up for success as a musical standpoint, know good song structure and what to do. You may have great chops, but how does your groove? Do you groove? Do you stay out of the way? Let's say you have this smoking guitar player. Just because he's doing all that doesn't mean you need to do a bunch of stuff too. Because then the bass player's doing something. And next thing you know, it's a cacophony of bull, and it's a bunch of noise. So there has to be a lot of discipline from a player standpoint and just be locked in and learn how to feel songs and stay out of the way. But then, like I said, set yourself up for success in that you have a plan. Just because you're here doesn't mean you automatically get anything. You're going to have to go downtown and then, you combine now and as far as doing videos, and that's great. But I think there should be a college. I think some dudes like this guy, Marcus Finney, amazing drummer. The fact that we play the same instrument is a discredit to him because he's amazing. Jazz guy, hands for days. He teaches, I think, at either Belmont or Lipscomb University. One of the classes he teaches is going down on Broadway, and the final is playing a gig, like taking notes, seeing different things, and then your final, from what I can remember him saying, or a part of that class, is playing a 3-hour gig on Broadway. That's gonna show me something.
Wow.
And I mean, what's hard about it? There's no way to prepare for it. You just have to do it. For instance, I played a double on Friday. The first part of the double was great. Second part of the double kicked my ass because I never played with the singer before, and you're kind of guessing on some endings. Like I know how I end songs with regular groups I play with, but there's a phrase: there's the right way, the wrong way, and Broadway. So you might know the record, but if you don't do it like the band does, and you're the oddball, like you're the new guy, you're wrong. And that's where the ego comes in. I've had to check myself more than once. I know how the song goes, but if the rest of the band didn't go there, I have to adapt to them. It's none of my be saying, hey, y'all did it wrong. Oh, wait, it's your first time playing with us? Yeah, right. Okay. So that second gig I did, man, every ending I guessed on was wrong. It's like, oh man. And then here's the other thing. You might nail a song in your mind. I nailed it. Guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. You're not going to get a gold star for that. Congratulations. You didn't train wreck this song. But they're not going to say, oh, great job. It's like, oh, wow. So the margin for error is so thin. And that's the stuff that I wasn't doing. So I pretty much get reality checked probably like twice a week.
Oh man. I will. Like I said, dude, I appreciate you coming on, and I could stay on here all night, but I
Shoot,
got
me
a
too,
couple
man.
more for you, man. We'll switching gears just a tad bit. I see you got your Raging Cajuns. I saw a little Instagram video of you talking about the NIL collective,
Yeah.
the crew along.
Yeah.
Just what are your thoughts on the current state of college football where we're at?
I think it's funny because all the old white guys can be like, oh, man, it's terrible. Well, guess what? It ain't changing. And I pretty much feel that it is an excessive course correction for all those years that college players weren't getting anything. Remember SMU and the Pony Express and all that? I mean, they're basically doing it now. So had they eased a little bit into it, had a better plan, this is the extreme, and it's not changing. And that's why programs like UL kind of suffers, because you need the booster money, but Lafayette has such a small pool to pull from for money. You got the RCAF, you got the Alumni Foundation. Now, if you're LSU or Texas A&M or Ole Miss, you got all these cats, all this money. Man, and then we're competing against LSU, not only for attendance, but just not even just relevance. It's sad that they're like, 45 minutes down the road, and it's going to cost you twice as much. But they increased the parking by $10 in Lafayette, and everybody's mad about it. But I think that it's good and it's bad. I think the stuff at our age, we realize, man, it's not about the game anymore. It's about getting paid. But it's not changing. And then at some point, there will be some cap on it. There's just going to have to be. And there's the haves and have-nots. But I will say that as far as NIL goes, I think it's something that college football's needed for a while is parity. We're getting in the extended playoff now. You could have Tulane getting in. You could have at one point maybe UL getting in. That is exciting. And then these teams like Texas State moving into Pac-10, Pac-12, and getting these opportunities. That causes, for a prime example, man, Walker Howard. He was sitting behind Jay Daniels at LSU, transfers to Ole Miss, sitting behind Jackson Dart. Decides, well, man, I'm going to go back to Lafayette. Whether or not he was dating Lane Kiffin's daughter, that doesn't matter. But so we get to benefit from that. We might be getting a guy that was going to sit. The opposite of that is, and I think the winner in the very beginning of this whole new thing was Joe Burrow at Ohio State. He goes to LSU and wins a natty. Man, that's beauty right there. So there's good and there's bad. I don't like players that halfway through a commitment, a coach leaves. I think, and part of the reason, it's the coaches. These guarantees that they get, I want to get a job where I can get fired and still get paid. Because the part of this NIL and transfer portal stuff, that if they were recruited by this one coach and he leaves, you got to play for another guy. This guy's going to bring his guy. So it was created for that. But like everything, we found a loophole. And there's a huge loophole with the whole transfer portal, eligibility. I mean, there's dudes that are 28 years old that are still got 3 years of eligibility left playing, college football. But
Yeah.
man, like it or not, it's a part of what we do, and we're just gonna have to embrace it. And we can't be the old guy on the lawn saying, "Oh, not back in my day, you played for the team." I'm sorry, that's just not the way it is, man. And I hope, for instance, that UL, they've done some great things there. I want them to succeed, but there's just so many things hamstringing them, and for all intents and purposes, man. And I think it's funny because, oh, man, they just got to win. They did when Napier was here. Problem was Napier wasn't a Hudspeth. Napier was the exact opposite of Hudspeth. And so we know what happened with Napier. Now man, dude, Napier going to Florida is the first time we ever had a coach a coach to get hired somewhere and not fired. Most of them get. So the fact that he moved on was great. And I feel bad that, that stuff went down. But yeah, man, I still love watching the game. As far as UL, man, we got a lot of injuries this season, man, and that's no excuse. Shoot. The optimist in me is we win 4 games, we're bowl eligible. So let's go.
Yeah, man, the college football is something right now, but I agree with I think everything that you said just a minute ago. LSU is definitely in a weird situation right now, so we'll see how that goes.
Who do you think they're going to get? Listen, I think people are silly to think that Kiffin, he ain't going, bro. He's the king of Oxford.
Yeah, and even if he did, the timing wouldn't work out anyway because they're going to be in the playoffs, and LSU's not waiting that long to hire somebody. So,
and although Lane has been known to change his mind, ask Tennessee, ask USC, ask Oakland.
I think he would go. I think he would go just because of the size of the job. There's not very many. There's only 2 or 3 jobs bigger than LSU, maybe Ohio State, maybe Texas. I don't know, but LSU is one of those tier 1 jobs for sure.
I'm thinking for him, he does what he's supposed to do. He puts Ole Miss on the map, and he's a legend. They put a statue of him up, Yeah.
He never has to win a national championship there, and he'll go out a legend.
No, make it to the Final Four.
5 or 6 years at LSU without a national championship, and everybody's like, man, he can't win the big one.
Man, I was telling my brother Tony, I was like, hiring Brian Kelly, that dude's so white, he's like transparent. It's like you can see through him, man. What the heck? But man, I think what would be hilarious, and I don't know if this will work, and I don't think LSU should be ready for it. Neither would the Cajuns be ready for it. As far as the Cajuns, not the team, but the people. John Gruden. You want to talk about somebody that would not take any BS?
Come in and go crazy, man.
That would be hilarious.
Chucky on the sidelines of Tiger Stadium.
And then Coach O's just still getting paid, running shirtless on the beach. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Oh man! Before I get you out of here, man, I got let me see. I got 4 little questions. We'll just call this speed round.
Word.
It's just first thing that you first answer is shrimp or crawfish.
Crawfish.
Gumbo or jambalaya.
Gumbo.
I had some earlier.
Me too. I'm having that for leftovers. I made it last night.
Favorite Mardi Gras town in Louisiana?
I'm going to say Lafayette.
And then what's one Louisiana product that you can't live without?
Best Stop Boudin.
Oh, man. I was going to say, I was just thinking in my head, that Best Stop seasoning is something for me.
Here we go. See? Oh, yeah. Dude, every time I go in, I take that Scott Cankton exit. I stop. I get a pound of boudin and 2 boudin balls. And then when I leave, I get a pound of boudin, 2 boudin balls, some cracklings for my wife, and a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. I'm ready to go.
That's good stuff, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you joining us on a Tuesday night, man. This is awesome.
It was great.
We'll have to get you back in, man. We'll have to do this again.
Oh, let's do it regular, man. I'm good with that. I like to talk.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I know. So we'll do this more, and I'll be over here, and I'll be up there with Alex and CJ and them in Nashville, maybe even in November. So we'll catch you up, and
for
we'll
sure,
come down to Broadway and catch a show, and we'll run into old Carl too.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
So, well, brother, I appreciate it, man, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ronnie, man. I appreciate y'all too, and keep doing what y'all are doing, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, Trace. Appreciate you,
yeah,
brother.
man.
All right. All right, guys. Man, that's what I love about these shows every Tuesday night. You never know what you're getting, and just good, awesome conversations. Tracy's a great guy. So many cool stories. We could have sat here for hours and talked, and I know you guys loved it too. She says, Karen, always enjoyed. Thank you both. Thank you for tuning in. Without you guys, we got nothing here, and even the people who can't catch it on Tuesday nights, we love the ones that go catch it, the days and weeks after. So thank y'all so much. Before we get out of here, let me see. We got to announce the big winner of our 2 VIP tickets to the Boots in the Bayou coming this weekend. And the winner is, and I didn't have anything to do with this. If anybody, nobody text me. The winner is Madison Payne. So, Madison, we will reach out to you and get those tickets to you. So we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. If so, make sure to tune in every Tuesday night at 7. Again, make sure to follow, like, share, comment, and help us show the world what Louisiana country music is all about. God bless everybody out there. Thank y'all for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next Tuesday night on Louisiana Country Music Live.